Hello, my name is Brett Price with Avenue Real Estate Services. I'm the Managing Director of Property Management with Avenue, and I'd like to discuss with you the proper way to screen a tenant. Before putting a property on the market for lease, you should have a set criteria of what's acceptable as a tenant for you and what's not acceptable. You should have this posted clearly on a website if you're submitting an online application, or the tenant should acknowledge what's acceptable prior to being screened or paying an application fee. Some of the things that should go into this criteria are going to be a credit history, what's acceptable credit to you and what's not, a criminal history, are you going to accept anybody with a criminal past or not, a sexual registry, if they're a sex offender, are you okay with them living in your property? Rent verification. So they should provide you previous landlord's information and be okay with you calling or getting a verification from that landlord. One thing you should look out for when that is a tenant providing you false information. What we like to do is try to go back at least 2 landlords if a tenant has lived in the property for less than 4 years. What that does is the first landlord, if they're a bad tenant, will often give you a good recommendation. The previous landlord, if they were a bad tenant, won't. Or you can also see if they were a bad tenant previously but have cleaned up their act and now they're going to be a good tenant. It gives you a better picture for what that tenant actually is. So previous landlords and ability to pay is a big one. You don't do yourself a favor or do the tenant a favor if you accept them under whatever your criteria is. The industry standard and what we do at Avenue Real Estate is 3 times the monthly rent. If the monthly rent is $1,500, they need to make at least $4,500 a month in order to qualify. If it's a roommate situation or a marital situation, that can be a combined income, but they need to be able to show that much income prior to moving in. What we find is if you skew lower than that, the tenant can have a hard time paying. Even if they're great tenants and very nice people, it just squeezes their budget a little bit too much. So you have to be very careful on that income verification. What we do at Avenue Real Estate is we don't qualify tenants for a specific property. We have a set criteria that's posted on our website that a tenant has to agree to prior to submitting application. Once they submit that application, we approve them to be a tenant in our company, and then their income allows them to qualify for a specific property. So if they don't qualify income-wise, we can provide them with options for other properties that might suit their needs. If you have any questions about screening a tenant or proper procedure for that, please feel free to reach out. I'd love to discuss it with you. Thank you very much.